So eventually, like you said, you guys moved out to Long Island, right? What is your reaction when you finally find out you leaving the BX and moving to Long Island?
Oh man, it was a whole different world. Like, at the time I was running around doing a lot of knucklehead shit in the city, with a lot of people in the city. So at the time, um, it seemed for my parents like a good idea to move to Long Island because to them it was like, you moving far away from this element. We're gonna bring you over here where it's all, birds and deers and all that, and you're gonna be good. But little did they know Long Island was kind of a crazy place too at the time. So, we moved out here. The reaction was it's a whole different world. When you coming from the city and coming from Long Island, it's just moving different. Everybody on Long Island move different than in the city. And if you from the city, you're a little bit more fast minded. You're a little bit more on top of shit. You see things. You know what I'm saying? You see things more in advance than you do as far as like when people trying
You
to
peep the
like
game.
get over on. Yeah, so you peep the game a lot more in the city. It's faster paced. So I learned that. So it was more like a, I'm finna turn up out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna go crazy out here. And it ended up being more trouble than if we would have, who knows if we would have stayed in the city, but it ended up being more trouble for me on Long Island because I just figured out my way around out here. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So it was kind of like a culture shock for you in the beginning, though, seeing that.
Yeah. It was kind of like, then it was kind of like, you ever see like what he say like when Tony Montana was like, it's like a big fat pussy waiting to be fucked.
Right, right.
That's what it was like. It's like, damn, these niggas ain't moving like this. So it's like I'm gonna come out here and do things a little bit differently, and I'm gonna turn up out here. So that's what it was kind of like for me. You know what I'm saying? But I always had that mentality, though. I always had that going into a place and like, yo, what can I do to really like, carve my niche out in this wherever I'm at? Like, let it be known that I was here. Like,
But a lot of people out in Long Island got money, right? It's like kind of like suburbia, or like were you like in like the hood part?
nah, I came. Yeah, it's a good question, right? Because you would think like I went to Riverhead High School, so that's right next to Southampton and all of that. So you would think that, yo, it's a nice spot. That's what everybody thinks when they think of Long Island. But I was in probably one of the worst spots in Long Island. It was probably the craziest place to grow up in at the time. They had different in one town. They had different drug areas where you could go to that were well known, like the Greens, or you know what I'm saying, like just places that were well known that you could get into some shit. And then you had like four different police jurisdictions, so you were bound to get into some trouble out there. So it was just like everybody, like of course, like you run into people that got money, but it ain't everybody. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And the people that do got money, they live in a bubble. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what's going on outside of their bubble, really. You know what I'm saying? I've like coming up out here. I met people that got money. I'm friends with them or whatever the case may be. And they super rich people and they great people. Don't get me wrong, but they have no idea what goes on outside of what they do. You know what I'm saying? And that's like everywhere out here. So it's like the people that are from like Riverhead, let's say Wyandanch, places like Amityville, like places that you hear about, like those are the craziest places for real because they made a name for themselves in that aspect. You know what I'm saying? Like you hearing about them because it's not all money out here.
Yeah. So that had to be a little bit weird too, because like when you in the city, you used to all the city noises, right? But then, like you said, you going out over there, you're seeing kind of more of the nature, the more of the animals, and those different noises.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful though. It's in a way it's less. At first, it's hard to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like at first, it's too quiet. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But then it's like you take a minute, and a lot of people that come from the city or come out here from the city, they get used to it and they like it and they love it because it ain't on top. Everybody on top of each other. It's spread out. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different things. It's a lot of water. A lot of people like to just go by the water. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Kind of
just a whole
gives you
bunch of
that
different
calm
things.
that you need though too, right?
right, a little
Yeah.
getaway, like a little. If you're used to the hustle and bustle of the city, like coming out here is just a little mini vacation, really, because it's like a whole different state, but it ain't. You know what I'm saying?
So what age are you when you guys move out there?
Oh, I would say like about 12. I think I was like 12, 11, 12 years old.
So, but you're saying that even before then, you was already out in the streets getting into trouble.
Oh yeah, I mean, so like my family, like my uncles, my older cousins, my moms, they was all involved in gang. Like I grew up in gang life. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up. My mother was a gang member. All my uncles is gang members. I grew up as a gang member. So it was kind of like it was like the norm. It wasn't something that like, oh yeah, we was out here. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, it was just a norm. We was a family. We didn't consider it a gang. We considered everybody a family. So it wasn't. It was like, how do I put it? Like if you grow up with that, and then your family is like, all right, because we know what's going on out here, we're gonna move him out here to take him away from that, and in hopes that he gonna do something better with himself. It was kind of like we want to try to give him a better future with a better opportunity, a better perspective rather than the buildings. You know what I'm saying? So rather than want me to see that as a norm, they wanted me to see something different. But it's like you can't. It's like this everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's not. You could try to. There's kids out here, even out here on Long Island. There's kids that's doing crazy things, and gang violence and whatever the case is, robbing people and whatever. It just happens like that. It's not because of more. It's not more so of who it is that's raising you too much, but it's what you raised around, and what they have to go through in order to raise you, because it's a cycle. If you growing up in an impoverished area, your parents are gonna do what they have to do to survive, and they're gonna teach that to you. So it's the same thing everywhere.